I can say from my own experience, I haven't had 0% success in changing anyone else.
If I keep looking at, oh, this one is a narcissist, this one is a narcissist, I tend to emulate that behavior because that is my consciousness.
She ended up leaving late and she got a fine and she blamed it on the other woman. You want to do the intro?
No, you've been through this before.
You're gonna do it one of these days, aren't you?
Yeah, not when you give me 1 minute.
After 100 episodes. Welcome. Today we are talking about how to stop a narcissist, aren't we?
Yes, we are. No, I'm just thinking we are totally not addressing the elephant in the room here. We are in the same room.
We're in the same room. And isn't it wonderful? It's taken us 3 hours to set this up or something like that, but hopefully it looks good. And you can't see the lake. There's a beautiful lake right there, but we can't get it in the shot because it messes up everything. So here we are. Welcome back to Spiritual Sense. And we weren't going to do this episode about narcissists, which we'll talk more about why that is, but we decided to do it anyway. So many people are wondering, like, who is a narcissist, how to spot a narcissist, how to stop a narcissist, what is a narcissist, because there's all these people who are causing chaos for other people, taking their time, draining their energy. And so what can you do about this? That's the question we're going to address today. So welcome, Sister Shireen.
Hello, Brother Michael.
Hello, it's wonderful to be here.
Nice to see you here.
Yes.
Nice to be here in the same room with you.
That's nice, yeah. There's not Zoom today.
Yes, no Zoom.
Right. So, narcissism. How do you stop a narcissist?
Good question. How do you stop a narcissist?
You can't stop a narcissist, can you?
No, you can't stop a narcissist. Okay. After 30 years of meditation, I figured one thing out. I have no control over anyone else. The only person I can control is myself. And even within myself, the only thing I can control are my responses, my thoughts, my words, my actions. Everything else is beyond my control. So stopping a narcissist, not possible.
It's an impossible task.
Yeah, not possible.
No.
But we need to think about something though, right? We need to really understand how transformation works. When we transform, in the Brahma Kumaris we have a saying that when you transform, the world transforms.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really feel that we haven't really explored that avenue too much. It's like we want to make changes in our life, but we haven't really explored how when I transform deeply within, actually changes can happen. Right? We want to change other people, we want to change situations, we want this, we want that. But how much have we explored this particular method? Right? Okay, I want that situation, but if I want that situation, then can I transform and see if it transforms?
Right. You might be able to change someone else, but not through trying to change them directly.
Yes, by your own transformation.
Right.
So that is what I've been thinking about lately is can my transformation change someone else?
Yeah. Can you change yourself and someone else ends up changing without you making them change or trying to get them to? Because I can say from my own experience, I haven't had 0% success in changing anyone else. I think we all have tried to change people in some sort of way. Like, wouldn't it be nice if you just did it like this? Sometimes even people say, can you just not leave that thing out over there? Can you just put it over there? And it's all very reasonable, but even then it might not happen.
Right.
So especially wanting people to be
a certain way, right? It's different. Oh, I want you to put it here versus here. That seems minor, but just my behaviors, my way of being and all of that, right?
Yes.
That's hardly...
It causes people sorrow anyway. If you say to them, stop being angry or something, they might not mean to be angry, but they can't help themselves.
Right.
So then it's an impossible thing. They could do it if they did enough work, but they don't know how to do it. So it just sounds like a criticism. So it's a bit like saying, how can you change the weather? You know, you can't really change the weather, but you can wear a coat, can't you? Or you can get AC if it's too hot. So I think when it comes to narcissism, other people's narcissism, we can't change them directly, but we can change how we respond to them, and they might end up being different afterwards.
Right.
Or they might not.
Or I feel that not just right how we respond to them, like deeply. Like when I transform, the world transforms. Deeply, can I transform? Can I really have the courage to transform? The courage here is not to stop a narcissist.
No.
The courage here is I have to transform.
Yeah. If we can get rid of any lingering narcissism in ourselves, that'll be a good start.
Right.
Because this title was slightly, I wouldn't call it clickbait, but we did it on purpose because it's called How to Stop a Narcissist. But really, you can't stop a narcissist.
Right.
But we can try and remove our own narcissism. And most people don't want to hear that they have any narcissism, but it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum.
Right.
You've got the extreme narcissists are people who only ever think about themselves and do anything to screw everyone else over to get what they want. That's the extreme end of it. But if I'm just slightly selfish and want things my way and think about me, I'm a little bit narcissistic, just a little bit. And that wouldn't be called, people wouldn't normally label that as narcissism because it's on the other side of the spectrum. But if that gets removed all the way down to zero or near enough zero, that's a huge success, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've also been thinking about is this deep method, right? Like we haven't experimented with this particular method of self-transformation, but there's another way of doing this, is to really deeply be introverted, introspective. Because introspective is that whatever is going on in your life, you have this very much inside-out approach, right? That whatever is going on outside, I can affect changes by just being by myself and seeing what I need to transform, what needs to happen within my life. Because many times I feel it's so much easier to say they did it to me. Much easier. But how about what am I doing to myself, right? Let's say, for example, if someone is a narcissist and they are being narcissists, right? They are just being themselves.
Right.
But because they're being themselves, and let's say they did like really inconsiderate things, they didn't take into account what your feelings are, all of those things, but they are just being themselves and they don't care. And I've noticed that most narcissists really don't care about other people, and they don't have much remorse also.
No.
And so they are being themselves. They don't have much remorse. They don't care. And why am I using that to hurt myself?
Right. Just by getting upset about it.
Right, getting by upset, putting up with it, thinking, oh, this is happening, that's happening. Why am I doing that?
Yeah, I think a big part of it is putting up with stuff unnecessarily.
Right.
You know, so some people, I know people who, thinking of one person who I talked to recently who has narcissistic children who are sucking a lot of her energy, and she has health problems, and she really needs to focus on her health, right? But she's giving all her energy to other people, and as a result she's very unwell because she hasn't got any time because energy is being sucked. So I said, why are you doing this? And she basically said she's a people pleaser. So she's trying to get other people to like her. So the narcissists are getting their way, but she's potentially going to die if she doesn't turn it around. So what do you think's going on there?
Being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
You know, recently one of our leaders, Mohini Didi, she was sharing that when someone says bad things to me, right? Like someone says mean things to me, why do I feel bad? Right? And she was saying that the reason you feel bad is because you are actually expecting praise. There's an expectation of praise, and because there's an expectation of praise and you're getting not praise but you know, a few choice words about something else that you're doing wrong in your life, and so because they're not meeting your expectations and you're expecting something else, and that's why you're feeling bad. So really, if you think about it, I'm not at all condoning narcissism. I'm not saying you should be in relationships which are narcissist. I mean, figure out a way of dealing with it, handling it. But also, one thing we all need to do is see what kind of expectations I have of people.
Right.
Right? What am I expecting? Right? Like, and what you're saying about being a people pleaser is there's a certain amount of, you could say, support I'm taking from being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Right?
And also being a martyr.
Yes.
You know, being a victim martyr. You know, I did so much, I give so much.
I feel it's a little different, martyr and victim.
Yeah.
I feel martyr does do things and then they feel resentful for having done it. But a victim is someone is doing it to them.
Right.
And because someone is doing it to them, they feel, right, oh, this is happening. And this is what I feel, right, in this dynamic of being in a narcissistic relationship or stop being a narcissist, right? All of us actually have choices to get out of that.
Yeah. So the real issue is what's going on within ourselves that's letting us stick with that situation in the first place, isn't it? That's the real question.
Right.
So we can't stop there. There's no way of. You could get a restraining order on somebody, maybe. That might stop them, but doing something. But other than that, what can you do?
Yeah, absolutely nothing. And the other thing I've been thinking is that one of the ways in which we think we are so wonderful is that we think we are victims. Right? It's like modern society.
It's a sport. You know.
Yes, modern society has
Olympics.
Totally elevated this victim, right?
It would be a fun little sketch, wouldn't it? The victim Olympics, and see who can be the highest level victim possible.
Right.
But it is a bit like that, isn't it?
Right, and they've elevated this, right? Oh, I'm such a victim, and then this one is such a victim, and then this is. I'm like, why are we disempowering ourselves like this? Right? First, we are letting ourselves off the hook, which is not good, right? We have to take responsibility for our lives, for our transformation, for my well-being, everything. I have to take responsibility. No one can be responsible. And two, because why am I letting myself off the hook? And two is being a victim is so disempowering.
Yeah, because other people have all the power. I'm saying I would be fine if it wasn't for that.
Right.
And there's nothing I can do at all about it. I mean, I think there are some what appear to be genuine victims in certain situations, but there's a lot of the modern world is there's someone has a choice and they've decided to not do the thing that they need to do about it. So narcissism seems to be something that we have, even a small amount can wreck our own life. Would you say being a victim is being a narcissist?
You're putting me on the spot. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe, it might be. Yeah, exactly. So,
It's some
small amount of
small
because you get
amount.
something out of it.
Yes, like all the attention and all the woe is me. And,
Yeah.
Right.
Right. You get a lot of attention.
Right.
Yeah. It gets. You get gold medals, the Victim Olympics. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't to say there aren't genuine victims around. We're not talking about that. We're talking about where we have a choice, and instead of taking responsibility to do something about it, we're saying it's not my fault in any way. I relieve myself of any responsibility. It's entirely someone else's fault the way it is, and that means it's impossible for us to change, isn't it? Because it's not my fault. Nothing I can do. It's actually much easier to be a victim, much easier. If I say everything that's wrong in my life is because of everyone else, I'm fine. It's everyone else that's the problem.
You think so, Michael? I think it's harder.
It's ultimately harder, but in the moment, like
I guess.
temporarily,
yes.
it seems
Yes.
like
because it really wreaks havoc on your brain and your mind.
No,
and
it's not
like
really
on your
solving a problem.
well-being,
Right.
everything, right? It's just so hard.
no, it's much harder in the long
Right.
run. But
It's like saying, oh, it's so much easier to just go to McDonald's and eat 3 meals a day in
Yeah.
McDonald's, right? Yeah, it is, but it's not really.
No, it isn't. No. We know that in the bigger scale, it's a really devastating life. But
And also, right, to move that analogy a little further, that metaphor a little further, you're missing out on such tasty food that you could be making.
That's right.
Right?
yeah,
And so it's the same with the victim. It's just a single tonal existence.
yeah.
You're missing out on so much you could be doing with your life instead of just being a victim.
Exactly. I was talking to someone who said she was seeing someone to help her out in the hospital, and she had a 40-minute limit on parking, otherwise she'd get a fine. And the person she was talking to, she brought food or something, wanted to keep talking to her, and she was saying, I've got to go because there's the parking. But the woman wanted to carry on talking. She likes to talk. And then she ended up leaving late, and she got a fine. And she blamed it on the other woman, because she wouldn't let her leave. Right? So what do you think is going on in that situation?
I would have left.
I know you would have left, yeah. You'd be like, I'm out of here. Nice to see you. But someone who's a people pleaser.
Also, it's not just people pleasing in that case, right? Time management.
Time management.
Time management. And hopefully it was not a narcissist.
It might have been a narcissist. It could have been.
Okay, then it's easier to say, I'm out of here.
Right. Because I think that's the issue. There are a lot of people who they want to talk and they want to do their thing and they want to have whatever they want, and they really don't care if someone gets a parking ticket. But she said multiple times,
you have to care about your own self.
I'm gonna get a ticket, and the other person's like, whatever. I want to tell you about all my stories, because they just doesn't care. But so that's where, like, it's like if it's hot outside, we have to figure out a way of not being in the sun too long.
Right.
So
one of the things I feel it's important also to understand about narcissists is that if we keep looking at their defects, if I keep looking at, oh, this one is a narcissist, this one is a narcissist, I tend to emulate that behavior because that is my consciousness.
right.
So we have to be very careful, even if people are narcissists around you, that don't keep looking at that. Right? I'm not. So, I don't want people to feel that we are brushing over problems people are having about if they have narcissistic people in their lives, but there's so many other places you can go and find out exactly how to stop a narcissist. Here we are giving you different methods.
This is more like, how can you change yourself so that narcissists don't bother you, and you don't put up with it either, because there's not really like one method for a narcissist. There's multiple methods, but if we can change ourselves, we can navigate situations much more easily.
Right. And also, we didn't try. We didn't try the method of what I said. We didn't try the
Changing yourself.
changing myself
No.
and seeing if other people are going to change. If I deeply transform, will other people change? I think yes.
I've experienced that actually, because not only do other people change, everything seems to be different. Like the more meditation I do, the more practice I do, I notice that many times if I'm doing loads of meditation and I'm feeling great and I wander around, it seems to me like everyone's in a really good mood. Do you know what I mean? Everyone seems to be in a great mood, everyone's smiling, everything's great. And if I'm not in a good mood, I'm having a hard time, everyone else seems to be in a bad mood. This is just my observation. So was the world actually changed, or is it just my consciousness? It doesn't matter really, but it does seem that people respond differently.
Right. Yes, people do respond differently, and maybe, and I feel like there's some energy in the universe that keeps moving, changing, because you're changing, right?
Yeah.
Everything is energy. Like your transformation is deep energy that changes everything around you.
It seems to be like a different world.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different world, and even being in the same place can seem different.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I feel this is not about, let's take a narcissist and bam, give it to them.
Yeah, let's give it. So how to catch a narcissist in a cage.
Right, that's not happening because they don't care. They don't really care.
No.
That's what I did notice about narcissists. They don't really care.
No, they don't care.
And so why do you care?
Yeah. It's narcissists often, they're just focused on themselves and they're getting what they want, and that's it.
Right.
And if you have self-respect and have your own life, they won't find you to be appealing prey for their little games.
You know, many times, right? Let's say I'm not talking in family situations where you don't have choices. Like, let's say your parents are narcissists or your children are narcissistic, right? You didn't really choose. You don't choose your parents or your children. They just happen to happen in your life.
Well, it's karma.
Yes, karma, but still, like, it's not like choosing a spouse.
No, you have
right?
more choice with the friends and all that.
Yes, choosing a spouse. And so what I would feel is it's not about, okay, yes, I didn't choose this relationship, and yes, they are narcissistic. All of that is true. Is true. But I feel we are double losing when we give into their games.
Right.
Instead of really, if I'm not taking ownership, if I'm not taking responsibility for myself, if I'm not taking responsibility for my well-being, I double lose.
Yeah.
Right? For example, let's take this example you were giving about this a person who went to visit someone in the hospital and the parking meter was going, and let's say the person in the hospital was narcissistic.
Probably.
Right?
Could be.
Right?
Could be.
So you lost twice, right? First, you lost because you got a parking ticket. And two, you gave into a narcissist, and then you had a whole bunch of waste thoughts about that you gave into this. Right? Like, imagine all of the
waste thoughts, and then you have to pay money, and you have waste thoughts, and the narcissist now thinks that they can get away with more of that.
Yeah, so they're double winning and you're double losing.
There's 3 losses there. There's 3.
Yes.
3 in a row.
Yeah, so triple winning and they're triple losing, right?
Yeah.
And so you're triple losing and they're triple winning. And so one of the things, though, is when I take ownership, when I really take ownership, that is the time I'm winning.
Right.
Because that's the time, that's when I know this is within my power. Because otherwise it's not within my power.
No, it's not. So that situation, like if we look at that situation, I think the person actually was a narcissist. That's because I talked to her. And so what she could have done in retrospect, if this happened again, right, because she might see her again, is to recognize that this is a narcissistic person who wants to suck energy and doesn't care about the other person's time or their money or anything. Know that in advance and either don't bother seeing them at all, because people can constantly request things in a way that's unreasonable. So one is just to not go along with it, just say I'm not coming. Or if you're going to come, to just say, here's your food with love, I'm out here, and just leave, and that's it, and that's a
One
win.
thing though is, that's true, but why am I doing what I'm doing also?
What's the reason for running around in the first place?
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I a people pleaser? Do I want to elevate myself? Like, I know someone who will complain about everything, right?
Mhm.
Like, every interaction in our life is cause for complaints.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, yeah,
They can go on vacation, they can go to a 5-star resort, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Every interaction is a cause for, oh, this happened to me, and you won't believe this happened, and that
the
happened,
plane.
and I mean, like, it's a big story, right?
Yeah.
And because that, I feel, that's their way of receiving love,
Mhm.
because no one is paying attention to them, and if they complain enough, then people might.
Right. That's true.
And so I could make every interaction about, oh, how wonderful I am. Look, even after she spoke to me, and my parking went more, and I paid for it, right? It is, what is the story am I telling myself after the fact? Am I really making myself out to be this wonderful martyr?
Yeah, I do so much for everyone
I
else.
do so much for everyone. Are you taking support from something like that?
Yeah. So, what we're really saying is that instead of pointing the finger at the narcissist, to say, what do I need to change in myself so this stops happening to me?
And what am I expecting out of that person?
Or what am I getting out of it? Yeah. Why am I...
Because there is an expectation, right?
Right.
If there is no expectation, then you'll be fine. Like, I said, Moini Didi was saying that you want praise and
Right.
you're not getting it, so you feel bad,
Yeah.
right? But if there is no expectation of praise, then even if they are saying horrible things to you, then fine.
Right. Exactly. And if they praise you, that's an unexpected, thing.
Right.
Yeah. But that doesn't matter. Yeah, well, I think we have high expectations of people, and then when they don't live up to it, we make ourselves upset, call them a narcissist, and blame everything on them.
We are very powerful beings, and I really feel we need to accept that we are very powerful beings. Because if I want to play, let's say I want to play the counterpart to a narcissist, right? Martyr or victim or whatever. I'm so powerful that I audition for these kinds of people in my life. I'm looking for these kinds of people. I audition and I find and I say, hey, there, because I'm so powerful, I want to play this. And that is why I seek that. I'm not talking about mothers or fathers or children or, things where you don't have choices, but in other relationships, right? We definitely have a choice and we definitely audition.
Right.
We audition people. So if I want to be a victim and I look around and say, let's see which is the best narcissist that I can play victim to.
Yeah, the finest narcissist.
The finest narcissist. Okay, there, that person, and let me get on with this, right? Because I feel when you really connect with who you are as a spiritual being, when you are able to sit in your very core qualities of, like your core qualities of spiritual qualities, you will recognize the patterns in yourself and you will recognize the patterns in someone else. And so it's very important to recognize these patterns, right? And every person in your life is there to tell you the patterns you are, subconscious self-sabotaging patterns that you are living. That's why they're there.
Yeah. So take responsibility to learn what these patterns are, change them ourselves, and see if narcissists disappear. That's how you stop a narcissist. You make them disappear. They just disappear.
Yes.
So
You can make them disappear. I feel we are powerful enough to make them disappear.
Yeah, when we stop putting up with it, my own personal experience is when I recognize what's going on and I do the inner work, that why am I putting up with this in the first place, then people stop, either they stop acting in a narcissistic way or they just disappear, they leave my life.
But with many times when they leave your life, you don't want them to leave your life. Then
That's
you want to hang on and you want to hang on.
Oh, but I like it, there's some attachment to it. So that is true.
I mean, I feel sorry for anyone who has to deal with that kind of people.
I know,
but take responsibility. Don't feel sorry for yourself.
Right. Yeah. You can, most of the time, you can either change yourself, stop hanging out with them, or spend less time with them. Or if it requires it, in some cases you might have to move across the country. But the only problem is you might end up with another one.
If you don't recognize your patterns, you will end up with another one.
Yeah, many people, they move from place to place and they end up with neighbours who are all the same in different places. Or bosses that are the same, or relationships is the same. So the way to stop a narcissist is to stop.
Recognize your
going on
pattern
here.
and stop your patterns.
Yeah. And that's the most sustainable long-term method.
Right.
Because if you stop a narcissist once, you might end up with another one next month or next year. So there it is.
Blessing?
Blessings.
Which one?
No, I'll read the blessing this week.
Oh, right,
There we
of
go.
course.
So here we go. You tell me the number.
88.
88. Self-sovereignty.
Yeah.
So this is perfect for overcoming narcissism. You have created a safe, loving kingdom within yourself, ruling your heart and mind with joy. You lead your inner realm with gentleness and strength. Your internal conversations are filled with benevolence and encouragement.
Beautiful.
So that's how you stop a narcissist. Thank you very much. It's nice to be here. This is the first podcast we've done together in person, and lovely to be here. Lovely to be with you. Lovely to be with you, Shireen.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. So have a beautiful week and lots and lots and lots of love.